What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode number 11 of the Male Mind Podcast. Super excited to be here. We have a guest that from when we first started the show, Louis wanted to have him on. Very excited to have Mike Manfre, CEO of Evolve Culture. Louis, this is your guest. Let us know why Mike is here in the first place.
Yeah. This is the man, the myth, the legend. So if you guys have followed me through my journey, I mean, it's been 10 years on the up and up, and Mike Manfre has been my mentor in the beginning of my journey, fitness and business. He's been my ride or die, honestly, since the beginning. And I've talked about him a lot in the podcast before, and when I do my speeches or anything that I have outside of the gym stuff, when I do speak, and people ask me, like, who's this Mike guy? I'm like, this is Instagram, you know? Who's this Mike guy? He's like, he's famous, like a little pretty boy. But yeah, I mean, it's been a great journey for both of us, and now we're older. We have a lot of things going on, and now I wanted to share, you know, the actual myth and legend that Mike Manfre is, and he's been in my corner. He was in my wedding as well, so we have a lot of history. But the biggest thing for me that I want you guys to convey and get out of this is transitioning in life, right? So I know Mike has gone through a lot of different shifts in his life. And we're going to go on to a story. And I want you guys to understand that quitting is not an option, right? Especially for us males. And the biggest thing that, you know, I got from Mike was that work ethic factor, but also continuing to evolve and transform. You see what I did there? You like that? That's a twofer.
I like
That's
that.
2 points.
I like that.
Well, thank you, Mike, so much for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself for those that are listening that don't know who you are. I've never seen you, heard about you. Who is Mike Manfre?
I appreciate that. So thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
This is episode number 11.
Yes.
I should have been on episode number 1, but
Should have
we'll bypass that for now. Yeah, guys, thanks for having me on. My name is Mike Manfre. I'm the owner and CEO of Evolve Culture. I'm 39 years old.
You would ever know.
It's weird to say, but I'm turning 40 this year. And I was a former Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office, and I worked at the jail for a long time. And you know, I grew up playing sports my whole life. I just always been an active guy, and so you know, when I went through the police academy with the sheriff's office back in 2006, I was 22 years old. It made me grow up really quick. You know, when you get a badge, it makes you grow up really fast, right? And I actually lost a lot of friends because they didn't want to hang out with me anymore because
you were a cop.
Don't invite this dude to the parties. You know what I mean? And so, you know, that was it made me grow up quick, but I really appreciate it looking back now as you get older. It actually probably prevented me from getting into trouble. Yeah. You know, hanging out with the wrong guys. And so I did that for about 7 years. And so I got into nutrition coaching. I met my mentor at the time, and this was 2011. I actually was going to do a bodybuilding show, and a buddy of mine at the gym I was working out at, he goes, "Hey, go see this guy for nutrition." And I just thought, wait, I think you should work out more, and you get more fit. We got to eat good? What? What's this all about? And so he says, "Go see this guy." So I sit down in this office, kind of like the same concept you had when we first met.
Yeah.
You know, you were kind of like, wow, you do this for a living? This is amazing.
Yeah.
So I sat down, met with this guy, and he was seeing, you know, 40 or 50 people at the time. He was making crazy amounts of money, way more than I was as a law enforcement officer.
Right.
They don't make that much money, newsflash. And I was already stuck. I was already not happy where I was. I was doing it for 5 years at the time. And so I remember looking in his office and going, man, this is amazing. This is what
cool.
you do
This
for
is
work?
awesome. Yeah.
You come here every day and just change lives? Get me on board with this. What do I got to do? I mean, do you guys need a janitor? Do you need me to pick up your dry cleaning? What do I have to do what you're doing? How do
And
I?
you were what, 26 at the time?
I was 26. Yep, I was 26 years old. And so you know, he said, "I'll tell you what. You can shadow me. Sit in my office every day. See how I deal with clients. Come with me to seminars." And so I started hanging out with this dude every day. You know, I'd actually work in law enforcement from 6 in the morning till 2 p.m. Get off, change, go from 3 to 8, and sit in this guy's office every day. Yeah. And without getting paid, right? And so I really worked 2 jobs with one pay. And so I did that for 2 years almost, 18 months, right? And then he finally said, okay, I give you my blessing. You can start seeing, yeah, you could start your the sword on both sides. You're now ready to start seeing clients. So he started feeding me clients. Fast forward to 2013 is when July 3rd of 2013, we're actually coming up on my 10 years. I left the sheriff's office. It's a pretty cool date. July 3rd, 2013 is the day I left the sheriff's office. And I remember leaving, and a lot of my friends that were in law enforcement said, "You're crazy. Are you leaving this job, guaranteed money, for a commission job?" And right then I knew your mindset and my mindset are different.
Completely different.
We are in two different worlds, dude. That's when I really realized that they were like, "You're crazy. You're leaving this job." And it's like, we're making garbage money.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? And I was in the position to leave. A lot of my friends they already had families. They had a lot of bills. They couldn't just get up and leave. I understood that.
Yeah.
I was in the perfect position, but I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm on year 7. I'm out. So July 3rd, 2013, I left. And life's never been better in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of my friends that were telling me I was crazy at the time, they're still stuck there.
Right.
They have about 3 years to retirement. I was supposed to retire in 2026 because I started in 2006. So it's a 20-year retirement. And in 2006, you're like, 2026?
That's woof.
I'd be 70 years old. What's going on right now? And now it's like 3 years away, right?
Yeah.
I would have been 42 when I retire. But they're still stuck in the same rut. They're still miserable.
Same routine.
Not everybody. I mean, I have a lot of friends that are cops they love life. I don't want to give that impression that all cops hate their life. But a lot of them are not happy. Right. A lot of them are divorced. A lot of them are living paycheck to paycheck. They're working 80 hours a week, right? Because there's so much overtime when you're in law enforcement because we're so short-staffed. So, I look back now and go, man, it's funny because you guys were giving me such a hard time.
Right.
And now
look where I'm at.
Look where I'm at now.
100%.
Right. But it took time. And I remember thinking, I left that day, taking my uniform off and going, I'm never going to put this thing on ever again.
Talk to me about that decision, though, because going through police academy, that's difficult in and of itself.
Right.
Going through the whole grind, for a lot of people, that's like the pinnacle, right? Like,
of course.
I reached my goal. I wanted to work at the sheriff's office. You're there. Talk to me. How did you work through that decision? Did you ever feel like, okay, everything that I did up to this point is a waste of time? That sometimes is a common sentiment when you're making such a strong life shift of, wait, I've done this. I put 8, 9, 10 years into this. Did I waste my time? Talk to us about that decision, because that decision is very difficult for a lot of people to make. Even though they understand that they're not happy where they're at, they can't get over making that decision of leaving what's established.
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing. I think people get so stuck in their routine and they're just afraid to make that leap.
Yeah. It always comes down to being afraid because it's the unknown. That's what it comes down to. I really don't know if this is going to work for me, right? I've been doing it for now at the time when I left 2 years, 18 months. So I can see, again, having a mentor going, well, if you can do it, why can't I do it?
Right.
Was that a difficult decision for you?
Absolutely. So that decision, when I decided to leave, actually in 2011, if we want to go backward just for a second, 2011, when I actually decided, okay, I'm going to give myself 2 years of doing this. And if I feel like this is something I can transition to, which I don't know why I couldn't, I tell people all the time, whether you look at someone that's rich, that's fit, anything in life, why did they do it and I can't?
Yeah.
They're not better than me. This person that's shredded is not better than me. He just has a good system in place. He has the guidance and the mentors and the knowledge. And so I remember looking at my mentor and going, why can't I be you, dude? It might take time, but why can't I be you? So making that decision when I left the sheriff's office, it was the scariest day of my life. That's why I always go down July 3rd, 2013. It'll always be a date in my mind right before the 4th of July. I remember I felt confident when I left, but inside I was like, I might be back. I don't want to be back, and I'm going to do everything I can. But I remember thinking, I'm not going to burn any bridges when I leave here. Some people leave their job like, fuck you, you're cool, I'm out. I didn't want to do that because
you were so unsure that this might not work for me.
I go, I'm confident leaving here because I think I am better than this, right? Not better, but I feel like I could be used in a different way. Right. Here I'm just like wasting time, right? And again, I'm miserable. And so that decision when I left, to answer that question, is there was no other option. I did not have an option B. Option B was going back. And I remember thinking I would probably rather work at Walmart than go back there with my tail between my legs. Because a lot of people said, hey man, we'll see you in a year. Right? Hey, we'll see you when you come back. A lot of my friends or people that were there,
on your failure.
they were counting on my failure, and I think
crazy.
they wanted me to fail.
I
Some
didn't know
people.
that. I never knew that.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah. Hey, we'll see you in a year, man. We'll see you in 6 months. Yeah. You know, and if you're out of the sheriff's office for a certain amount of time, I think it's law enforcement in general. After a year or two, you actually have to go back to the academy. And I remember thinking, man, in 2 years I have to go back.
Start over.
I'm going to work at Walmart. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna be a greeter. I don't even care. I'm not going
Pick up
back.
some dog shit on the street.
Something,
Whatever
dude.
you need to do.
And so that decision was very scary. Even though I felt confident, outer shell, inner shell, I was like,
I'm terrified.
oh, I'm so scared of this. But there's no reason I can't do it. And again, it might take me time. And I remember thinking, if I can just have, because I had the cottage, right? I had a mortgage. But still, it wasn't like I was just living at home. I had a mortgage. I had cars. I still had bills. So I remember thinking, I can't just, I have to have some type of money in savings for me to actually quit. Yeah. And I remember thinking, if I could have 6 months of mortgage payments, then I can leave.
That gives you a cushion.
It gave me a little bit of a cushion. It just made me feel a little bit more comfortable, And so, yeah, that decision was scary, but that's what makes or breaks people. And that's where some people are up here and some people are down there because they're scared of that decision.
Yeah,
And
they're scared to make that leap.
But that's the variable. The ability to make that decision is what keeps you down or elevates you at the end of the day. And now you mentioned about your mentor. I think that is key for a couple of reasons. You mentioned that you were willing to shadow this individual
for
without
free,
getting paid
100%.
for 18 months. So I had a very similar experience in real estate. I had the opportunity to find someone. They mentored me, let me shadow them, show homes. But talk to me about the importance of finding that mentor and not only finding them, but being willing to essentially put in the time for free. A lot of people are not willing to do that. They want to get paid on day one, even if they don't have the skill set. So did you ever feel inferior? Did you ever feel like, man, this sucks, I'm not getting paid? Was there a little bit of ego there? How was that transition of 18 months with no pay, just learning?
Because I seen the blueprint. I seen someone going, they're so successful. If I can just follow his path,
right,
I should be just as successful as he is. And he's also happier. He's changing lives. And so, my ego was there, but at the same time, I was so coachable because I was so ready for change. And that's where a lot of people fail. If you're not truly ready to change your life, you will not make those changes.
100%.
If you're truly ready, if I said, hey, you could be a millionaire in 5 years, you're just going to do nothing but follow me for 5 years. And on year 6, you'll be a millionaire. If you're not ready for that, you're going to stay where you're at. Yeah. Right. And so I seen that and I was like, man, this dude's balling this hard and changing lives. I just got to follow what he does.
And it's such an interesting combination of confidence with humility built in.
Yeah.
Because deep down, you're good enough. But at the same time, you know that there are still things that you don't know. There's still things that you need to learn. That balance to me is a common trend among successful people.
100%.
That deep down, they know they're good enough. They're like, if I can just have the right info, I can pull this off. I know I can.
That's it.
But I don't have it. And because I don't have it yet, I'm willing to learn, be coachable, take criticism. So it's this beautiful dance between ego and humility that I think really breeds evolutionary success that you embody so well.
Absolutely. And if you go into that with a closed mind, I know everything, this guy's stupid, you're going to fail 100%. If you go into this going, I'm the sponge, you're the master, let me just tell me what to do and let me just copy your success, right? I don't want to reinvent the wheel. You just tell me what to do. Let me just watch you with clients, right? And as you go on, you start putting your own spin to it. And I speak different to my clients than he was, but yeah, you leave your ego at the door because I was so ready for change and so fed up. I didn't. If he said, "Dude, you're going to clean toilets for a year," I probably would have done it.
100%.
I probably would have done it. And so that's when I was truly ready. But if I was still kind of happy where I was at, I was like, wait, a year or 18 months, whatever it was, there was no like, hey, you're going to work with me for 18 months. That's just how it worked out. Because he wasn't ready to feed me people yet. He wasn't ready to say, hey, you're ready now on your own.
Yeah. But that's cool, though, because I feel like he, as a mentor, he took his time to really see, okay, I'm going to put this guy to the test and see if he's actually going to stick to being here for free, and how is he going to manage to do that?
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, if you're a good mentor, and Mike did the same thing to me, it's like literally a replica, copy, paste.
And I was his client, by the way, which is, you were my client.
Yeah.
I actually said, put me through the process because I did want to do a bodybuilding show.
Yeah.
And so I was like, let me be the client. Let me just see from the inside out
how it
this
works.
works.
Yeah.
Yep. Because it's hard to show someone how this works without being a client first. Let me go through the steps as well.
A lot of people try to do that, though. I see that a lot, that a lot of folks try to coach people into doing things that they've never done before. And so what happens next? You're 18 months, you start getting fed clients, you start building yourself as a coach, as a trainer.
Yeah.
What happens next?
So now I'm a little more confident because now I have the tools that he has showed me to start being successful. And so now he's like, okay, you get your own office, which was a big deal, right? Because I was in his office all the time. And, so he gives me my own office, and it's in the very back, right, by the storage.
You're still loving it, right? You're like, dude,
Oh.
this is it.
I just told him, I remember telling him day one, if I can make the same amount of money as I am as a law enforcement officer, right, with the sheriff's office, as I am doing coaching, which was not a lot, the dude laughed at me. He was just like he was making so much money. He's like, of course you're going to make what you're making. He knew how much
times
I made.
10, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember thinking, man, that's cool that he kind of laughed it off. Like, this is legit. Like, I can really make this type of money. And so that's when I left the sheriff's office on July 3rd, 2013, is once I was able to make just a little bit of money, right, to go, okay, this could be successful. But the next step was from 2013 when I started on my own. For 2 years now, I'm on my own, right, for the most part. Now I'm going to trade shows with him. It was a good way to get clientele. We would go to like What Women Want Expo or all these expos. We'd set up a little stand. We'd give out free body fat testing. Just putting in the work to get clients. I didn't know how to get clients. So I would just be this guy's puppy dog, right, and just walk around with him. We would go to seminars. He would set up seminars. You've been in my seminars.
Yeah.
I would go to seminars with him all the time, just sit there and watch him speak to a group of people. It was so awesome to see. And so, but 2015, we fast forward to 2015, I started realizing, because when we first met, there was a 60-40 split. I would have done 90-10, bro. I wouldn't even cared.
Yeah.
I would have said, yeah, you take 90% of my money, I'll give you 10%, or give me 10%. I was just so committed. But it was 60-40. 60% was mine, and 40% was his. So I sign you up, he automatically gets 40%. Okay, cool, that's fair. I didn't care. 2 years down, I'm like, okay, I'm starting to get more clientele on my own. I'm starting to learn the system a little bit better, learn the game, learn how to get my own clientele. 2015, 2 years into it now, we had this conversation. I go into his office. This is October of 2015. I think I deserve a 70-30 split or even an 80-20. I've given you so much money the last 2 years. I've been grateful to you, but I've been getting a lot of clients on my own, and I'm still giving you your 40%. I'm using your office. I get it. But I just started realizing maybe I can do this on my own, right? Maybe here's the next chapter in my life where I make another jump.
Right. It's like that growth phase of like, okay, now I can do it on my own. What do I got to do?
Because my clients will go, how come you don't just turn yourself into, I'm not going to say his name, but
yourself.
Yeah, how come?
Yeah.
Why is your name not
here?
on the door?
Right.
Right? Because they'd say, so is this your company? I'd go, no, it's not my company, but I'm a 1099 employee. Like, it's my business, but it's not my name on the door. It was just like very confusing.
Right.
I remember having the sticker on the back of my car and be like, is that your business? No. It was just, I didn't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's my business, but it's not. So my clients would be like, your name should be on the door. Why can't you? And I was scared. I was like, no, there's no way. I can go off and do this on my own. It's scary.
But it's interesting that now you're scared again.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Of course.
You're scared at the sheriff's office. Go through this. Now you're scared again.
Yeah.
And how the cycle just kind of repeats itself
Yep.
as you grow.
Yeah.
I think that is a very interesting insight because
It is.
people sometimes assume that if I can get over the first fear, I'll be good forever.
Yep.
Nope.
That's
Bad
not
mentality.
the way it works.
Bad mentality.
Because you can't grow. You can't
Right.
evolve.
So now you're back in the same chair.
Yeah.
Now you're in this uncertain position like, man, can I do it on my own? You're scared again. That is a tremendous insight.
Yep. Yeah. And now the second day, October 25th of 2015, is the day I left. I went to his office. A week before that, I don't remember what day it was. I said, I think this is what I deserve. I kind of presented facts and said, hey, I've given you so much money, especially for my own clientele. I would be at a bank and someone's like, oh, you look good. Here's my card. Why should I give you 40% of my money from my own doings, right?
My own work.
My own work. Now, maybe for my own clientele, I give you 20% instead of 40. He just said, nope. I said, okay. And it was such a blessing in disguise when he told me to fuck off, dude. It was the best. He literally told me to kick rocks. Said, awesome.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Within a week, I had my own office in West Jordan, right? I had my own LLC. I was now Mike Manfre Fitness. Like, that would just lit a fire. I was like, who are you? I was
tell
just
me
so
that
mad about
yeah.
it. Like, I've been so good to you. and you just told me to kick rocks. Now, if he would have said, yeah, let's do an 80-20, let's do a 70-30, whatever I presented to him, if he said yes,
You might still be there.
I'd still be there, dude.
You might still be there.
100%. It's funny how that works. I'd still be there. And it was such a blessing in disguise.
But see, the cool thing is that I'm getting from this is you, yes, you could say you were afraid, but let's be real. You knew that you were better. You knew that you could do this on your own. There was a small percentage where like, you know what? I could do this. And to me, because I was in the exact same position, I was like, you know what? I can do this. And it's those little moments that kind of takes you over the hump.
Yep.
And that moment right there was like, okay, this is my
fire,
door.
dude.
This is the fire.
I
Yeah.
left that place and I went online and I was like, I'm going to get in my own LLC. I'm going to change my name. I'm going to go look for an office down the street from my house at the time. And so I was just like ready, bro.
Yeah.
Almost like scared turned into like motivation. Like, okay.
Yeah, that
All right.
that anger fuels
He
you.
wanted me to sign up. I remember him going, so I said, I'm out, dude. I'm leaving. I'm grabbing all my stuff out of my office. I'm out. Within like a day or two, I was gone.
Yeah.
He wanted me to sign a form that said you cannot do any nutrition coaching for 5
The
years.
non-compete.
Non-
The
compete.
non-compete. Not just like the clientele that I had.
At all. You can't
He
do
just
it at
said you
all.
cannot do this in Utah.
Right.
Right? I almost took that and wiped my ass with it. I was that close. I was that close. I was like, dude, why would you ever even say that to me? I don't know if he was fearful of me getting more clientele, or like, why would you not want, you've showed me the ropes. Why would you not want me to go help other people?
Yeah.
Just like with you or anyone else that I've mentored, like people think they're stepping on our toes. They're not.
Yeah,
You might vibe with
100%.
someone better than I don't. So how about I show you how to do it, and then you can help someone that maybe I can't. Right?
Now, is that abundance mindset? Does that come natural to you? Have you always felt that way, or is that
Absolutely.
something that you had to learn?
No, I mean I've always if you're scared of competition, then you got to look in the mirror and look at yourself. You should never be scared of competition ever.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's always going to be someone better, and that's okay. There's always going to be someone that's,
Farther ahead.
further ahead, and there's someone that maybe you don't vibe with this. If I show you how to do this or I show you how to do this, maybe you vibe with someone better than I do.
Right.
And so if I didn't show you, then maybe they're not getting help now.
Yeah.
So it was just that type of mindset when he was like, Phil, sign this out for 5 years. You can't. Like, he wanted me to go, okay,
Yeah.
I'll go be a Walmart greeter. Like, what? Yeah. No, I was so mad, dude. And so that's when I made my next jump. And funny story about that, I was getting ready to compete at Nationals in Miami in November. November 10th or November 15th of 2015. So not only was I starting a new business again, Mike Manfre Fitness with my name on the door,
You were in prep.
I was in
wasn't show
prep,
prep,
dude,
yeah.
for Nationals.
That's insane.
Nationals.
Yeah.
And I did USAs in July of that year, but I was, at that time, I was still like under that umbrella. I was all good, and really stress levels weren't high. But now I'm going to Nationals for another national show. Now, he's also threatening to sue me. Like, it was a disaster, dude. It was a disaster.
Yeah.
And so I remember someone that was working in my office, someone that I actually brought from that company, I said, hey, when I left, I said, come with me. In 2013, I said, do come with me. Don't stay here. Right? He came with me to the office. And in 2015, I was actually in Miami getting ready to get on stage. Maybe, I think it was like the night before. And he sends me a picture of a letter from an attorney that came to the office. He's like, hey, this came for you. Number one, I'm like, why did you send that to me? I'm getting ready to get on stage.
Yeah.
And
Like the next tomorrow, I might get my pro card.
bro, why did you do that? And you should have, because I
Should've
told he
waited.
knew the whole story. I'm like, why did you even just send it to me on Sunday, dude? So now I'm like, okay, now I got a letter waiting it for me because I thought he was going to sue me because I took my clientele with me. Now, if I'm seeing you wherever I'm at, if you cut hair and I go to wherever you go and you go, hey, by the way, I'm going over here now to Supercuts. I'm just going to follow wherever you go. Right. Your business can't tell me where I have to stay.
100%.
And so when I had about 40 clients at the time when I left that company, I just told them, hey, I'm just relocating to this place, right? If you want to come see me, you've already paid for your program, come see me, right? That company can't say you have to stay there. Mm-hmm. So when all my clients came with me, I didn't lose any clients. Right. That was the problem. But I'm like, well, are you going to make them stay? They don't want to go see this dude.
They want to go see Mike.
They want to go see me. That's why they hired me. And so, but he took it as, no, you're taking all my clients. Really, they're just following wherever I'm going because they want me, not just the program.
And they wanted the service. They
want the service. You hire somebody for them. So anyway, long story short, I get back from Miami, and the letter is from one of my clients who was paying me in a check. It wasn't even.
So you're freaking out for no reason.
I have a client who works at a lawyer's office, at an attorney office.
Oh, okay.
And for some reason, she sent me in the mail her check for her re-sign.
With the
lawyer's
envelope.
office.
where she worked.
That's wild.
I was tripping. I should have just had him open it and see what the letter said, because then it was the check from one of my clients that works at a law
Maybe you
firm.
would have gone first place.
Dude, I took 6th, but
But that's interesting because often that happens to us. We make these often
Assumptions.
imaginary scenarios
Yeah.
that drive us insane.
Yeah.
You know, and we just had a TEDx event just a couple months ago, and one of the speakers talked about that concept of when you're having this negative self-talk where you're scared, where you're making assumptions, you have to be able to stop and see, is this actually real?
of course.
I mean, what is it, right? Because you go into this cascade of negativity and like, oh shit, and he's gonna sue me and all this, and it was never real to begin
False
with.
evidence appearing real.
It's wild.
I was,
right?
I was just gonna say
That
that.
happens so
100%.
often.
Yep.
It is crazy though, because most people actually stay in that unrealistic pattern of assumptions and they can't get out. I think a lot of us males have that mentality with like, oh well, I'm not good enough, I'm gonna stay here. Oh well, I can't go get that job, I'm gonna stay here, I'm content.
Yep.
And they live in this weird replaying pattern of shit and negativity, and it comes out for having these fake assumptions.
Well, if you don't try, then you can't fail. And that was my mindset as well. That's a lot of people's mindset. Did you fail at that? No, I just never tried. So you feel better in a weird way. I just didn't try, so of course I didn't fail because I didn't try. You know, it's like that mindset's so wrong.
And most people will not try anything because they are so afraid of failing, not realizing that failure equals success.
Yeah. And that was my mindset. When I was under this umbrella of being with this company, I remember thinking when someone would say, hey, how come your name's not on the door? I remember thinking, I don't think I can do it. I really don't think I could do it. It just seemed so overwhelming, you know, seeing him with all these he had about 10 other consultants at the time. And he was like babysitting all of us. And I was like, I don't want to be a babysitter. And I didn't realize, well, if I just go for business for myself and don't have anybody else, it's just me. So I had that mindset for a second. And then I realized that defining moment, he said, no, I'm not going to give you anything, is when I was like, okay, I'm going to be better than you now. Right. And then when I left with 40 clients, you know, I got to 100 clients per week. It was, you know, he never did that. I remember we were like, oh, he has like 43 clients. It was like the biggest deal ever. All the consultants like, look at his schedule. It's got 43 clients in it. Now I see 107. I mean, it's just like, you know, so growth, dude, and evolve. And so that was just a crazy time frame in my life in that 2015, you know. And I remember him telling me, hey, if you just give me like 20 grand, I won't sue you. And he just kept like throwing these little tiny, just ridiculous. I remember
just a money grab.
You give me 20 grand, dude, you know, or 30 grand.
And we'll call it even.
We'll call it even.
And then
I'm
we're
like,
good.
even
We're
for what, though?
homies.
Yeah. We good? You give me 30K, we good?
Yeah.
You know, and as long as you stick to your beliefs, and my beliefs were I did nothing wrong. If I would have been just like a little bitch about it and been like, oh, okay, here's 20 grand, like, or let me sign this form, where would I be today? I mean,
it's one of those situations
you know,
where you have to know when to stand your ground.
Of course.
Right? And when to say, you know what, there's a line here, and I'm not going to cross it.
If you know your self-worth and you know you're better than this and you know you can be successful, I'm not signing anything. And I remember thinking, dude, bring it. You want to do this, you know, some type of lawsuit. You have
bring it.
You have no ground. There's nothing that you can, that a judge will say, yeah, we want to have you give him 20 grand, 30
You know
grand.
what's wild? Your story perfectly replicates my own, just in real estate.
Yeah. It's like looking in a mirror.
Perfect. Like,
I mean, you're better looking, but.
to the
Except
T.
he's Mexican.
To the T. Got fired. I was a broker. Got fired. Start my own brokerage. Man, he's got a bunch of exactly.
Yeah.
I actually got the letter. the non-compete.
Oh yeah.
All of it
Wow.
exactly the same. And so, talk to me about now. The next step is, at least for me personally, now you've got a company. Now you've got in my case, agents. In your case, consultants. Now you're in charge of a boat. What was that like? What was that learning curve of, man, now it's not just about, because when I was just an agent, I was just worried about my clients. But now I'm responsible for the other people in the building. That for me was a huge turning point. Yeah. How did you handle that?
Well, I didn't have any consultants, by the way. So I just decided I wanted to do this myself. I want to babysit. Actually seeing how stressful he was with all of us.
Like, I don't want to do that.
Making sure we were putting our payments in, like we weren't just taking money under the table. Like, it was just such a nightmare. Yeah, he was making money off of us, but I'm like, that wasn't even worth it to me. I do not want to babysit. I just don't. So I'm going to go for business for myself and call it good, right? But for the first few weeks, I remember I couldn't even get into the office for about a month. So I was seeing clients at like Beans and Brews, right there, we used to go to, at Starbucks. And these are new people. You know, they would hit me up on Instagram or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, so meet me in Starbucks. Like, how shady does that look?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a professional, but meet me at Beans and Brews,
Meet
dude.
me at the Wendy's play.
Yeah. We're like trying to talk and it's just loud with blenders and going off. So, but yeah, but again, I told myself again, now round 2 of being scared, this has to work. I will not fail at this. I just won't. And I had a better starting pace because now I have some clientele. Right. I kind of knew what I was doing. I was now 2 years on my own at the time, a little over 2 years. So I wasn't as scared, but it's still scary when your name's on the door now. Now it's my name. You know, if something was ever go wrong, just talk to the owner. Now it's me. Right? Now it's very important.
There's no one else. There's no, like, hey,
there's nobody else.
This guy.
There's nobody else. But I'm telling you, again, it comes back to if you're truly fed up with something, you'll change it. And if you're not, you'll make excuses. I could have been like, okay, you know what? Yeah, you're right. I'll just stay at 60-40. We're straight. We're good. I'm going to chill for another few years and just give you all my money. I was just so fed up at the time. I didn't even care. This will work if I want it to. And when I started my own business, it ended up working. Right? And so now then you fast forward to 2019. Now I've done this for now 4 years on my own. Right? And I've just kept improving every year, getting better and better.
Yeah.
And it's all about taking care of your clients, taking care of your people. I hire a business coach in 2019, and he tells me, dude, your Mike Manfre Fitness name, it's got to go. Mm-hmm. You cannot have your own name in your business name. It has to go. And I was so mad.
That's interesting because so many people talk about the personal brand. It has to be the personal brand. It has to be you. So
and that's the biggest thing that I went through. It was like, no one knows who the hell I am. No one's going to follow Luis Peña Fitness, right? And it's funny because we had this conversation actually in 2019, and Mike called me and was like, bro, like, you did it right. I was like, what are you talking about? It's like, was it John Bowles? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I talked to John, and, you know, this is what we did, and Transform is the brand, and it's Luis behind that.
Yep.
And I was like, holy crap, that makes sense. I never thought about that, but I wanted to go an expansion mode. So what Mike did was actually a great idea because people knew him as Mike Manfre Fitness. He was growing. I saw it. I was literally there. We had the same freaking office for years. And right when he changed it to Evolve Culture, it like expanded even more. Mm-hmm.
Well, for you,
and that was the idea.
But for you, that was problematic at the beginning.
Yeah, I was so mad. This was my baby. I've done it for 4 years. I got T-shirts and hats that say Mike Manfre Fitness, bro.
Merch.
What am I supposed to do? Am I sit on all this? Am I supposed to go give it to homeless people now? What's going on here?
Yeah, cast those away, by the way.
Yeah. I actually have clients that will still send me a picture with their MMF hats on or shirts. You know, it's hilarious. But yeah, I was actually really distraught for about a week, and I actually had a coming to Jesus and going, okay, I hired this guy. Again, trust the process. The worst is when you hire somebody and then I'm going to argue about what you're telling me to do.
Does that happen to you guys a lot?
Oh, it happened yesterday on a call. Dude, yeah, it happened yesterday. And the guy's like eating 2,400 calories, he's not losing any weight. I'm like, well, let's see if we can maybe be a little more in a deficit. Anyway, he was arguing with me the whole time, one of my online clients. I'm like, wow, here's your money back, dude.
Yeah.
You're not coach. It comes back to being coachable. Mm-hmm. So if I'm going to give you my money for you to be my coach, I'm just going to listen and trust the process. And it worked. But we would do, you know, even the color scheme, like, you know, yours is blue.
Yeah.
Mike Manfre Fitness, it was red. And we did all these, like, these different tests on red and how it shouldn't be for certain businesses.
Yeah.
We found this mint green. That's like my color is like a mint green. And I was thinking, man, what's a really good word? You know, like a transform. Like, what's a really good word that, you know, I want to take the word fitness out of it, by the way, because my main clientele, and that's where kind of we differ. We're in a gym. I mean, like, it's awesome. Like, he's training competitors, and I was doing that for a long time. Yeah. I'm kind of going away from that, and, you know, my clients are 50, 60 years old and just everyday folks. And so that's what I wanted to target. So the word fitness was actually scaring a lot of people off. Mm-hmm. They would see Mike Manfre Fitness, they would see my Instagram or trophies and go, oh, this guy just does competitors. Mm-hmm. That's all he does. And I was actually losing clientele over it.
And you know what's funny? Now that he mentioned that, if you guys go through me and Mike's actual Instagram, the actual feed over the years have changed because we've both evolved and transformed at the exact same time, not realizing, because when I brought Cass in, It was a lot more female based, more lifestyle based, more women wanted to get fit. So we had to change and actually go with what we were going for in the niche, which was an amazing idea. If you guys are doing any brand changing or anything like that, find your niche, because this is a great topic about that, because you need to understand what you're going for and what you're going to do every single day to get to where you want to be in the aspect of business.
100%. 100%. And that's what I tell people that I mentor. Like, you're gonna when you do your marketing, you're marketing to who your niche is and who your clientele is, right? And so yeah, I wanted to find a word, and evolve was the word, and to make it a culture. It was just a perfect combo when I actually, really did some searching on what the name I wanted, right? And I feel like evolve is not just for health; it's for everything in life.
It's for everything.
So I want to have that.
And it's so cool because if you think about it, and me and Mike are literally the exact same person. He's just better looking and white. But the thing with me was the exact same thing. And we talked about this before, like that transform word means more than just fitness. And I think a lot of people don't realize that, because I was actually the first one that had a tagline in the fitness industry was mind, body, health, and lifestyle. And then everybody else that me and Mike mentor kind of like took the little things underneath. But for me, the vision was way more. So same as him, the vision was way more. Like, okay, my Manfre Fitness was it, but now I'm one step ahead. And he's always been one step ahead. And that's a cool part I love about Mike. He's always thinking futuristically. And when I remember, I probably still have the text. It was like, hey, I'm changing my name. I was like, do it.
Yep.
What is it? And I remember I was the first person that he sent the logo to. I was like, full send it, freaking do it today. Mm-hmm. And look at what it is now.
Yeah.
But talk to me about that responsibility. So when I've been around Lou and other trainers and things like that, for me, it's such a tremendous responsibility that you guys have.
Yeah.
Because people come into your office and often they have low self-esteem. Maybe they've tried this before, they've failed. They don't like what they see in the mirror. That's affecting every other aspect of their lives. Mm-hmm. And so how do you, number one, avoid absorbing maybe some of that negativity and taking it home with you? And number two, how do you view that responsibility? Because as you say, it goes way beyond macros. It goes to the emotional aspect. Mm-hmm. And to me, that is a tremendous responsibility. How do you view that?
Yeah. So, and that's a good topic, because it's not just about giving somebody a meal plan. I mean, people that have shadowed me, they're like, dude, you guys talked about in your 30-minute appointment about nutrition for like 5 minutes.
100%.
I mean, it was about their life and how are they feeling and how's their kids and how's their vacation. And, so much more goes on than just getting a meal plan. And yes, absorbing all that, I've been victim of taking it home, or you're a therapist. I'm seeing 25 people a day. And
that energy
gets so hard.
Gets given to you.
Of course. And I'm trying to stay on, people even on Friday after I've seen 100 people, they're like, how do you stay this hyped? How do you stay this And number one, they're paying me, so I feel like I owe it to them to give them my all. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, they're putting their trust in me, which is way more important. And they're saying, I trust you to handle my new lifestyle. I'm putting all my trust into you.
Yeah.
And so when I had that responsibility, I try to give them my all right? And but that's why going to more of the average person, and a lot of them, confidence is number one, and that goes with competitors too. But confidence is definitely number one. I always ask people, what's your why? The words I love using is, tell me more about that, right? It's huge. It's such, as far as sales or anything else, when someone says, I want to lose 15 pounds or I want to do this, tell me more about that, because there's more to the story than just want to lose 10 pounds or 20 pounds. But yeah, absorbing all that is definitely hard, but I've done it for so long now, 12 years. It's almost like
it's clockwork.
Second nature, dude. It's just like, and you know the right things to say to people because you've done it for so long. You know the same rebuttals. Same with real estate.
It's a
same rebuttals,
it's a
the same
repetitive
issues.
Conversation.
I can write down 10 questions or 10 issues that people have, and 95% of the people are going to have those. So you're just so good at the rebuttals, and but yeah, absorbing that is hard on the body sometimes. It really is.
And the biggest thing, you guys, if you guys are listening, the takeaway, if you are a personal trainer, a nutritionist, or a coach, and I will say that me and Mike are probably the top in Utah, and I will say that very confidently because we've put in a lot of work from us and our physique and bodybuilding and all that, and also in our business. And I want you guys to understand that to be a good coach, to be a good mentor, to be a good trainer, you have to see past the macros, past how much They're going to bench. There's so much more to it. And I want you guys to understand that most people want to be heard. They want accountability. They want you to show up. And they actually want you to listen and be, a listening ear with their issues. Because half of our clients that we see are going through a divorce. They have 5 kids that never worked out in their life. They've been obese their whole life. There's so many different people and patterns and stories that we have to take on as people. And we have to be like, okay, and to me, it's like my little hamster wheel starts going right when that person comes in. And you have to be very OCD and be very logistical with people because we want to help them. Our goal is to help them. People are similar, some aren't. But our job is to make that person feel special and honestly change their life.
And I think that's the point, because in a world where you are constantly giving to others, how do you prioritize yourself? Because if you let yourself go, if you're not in a good place,
You can't be there for your clients.
then you can't be there for, for your
100%.
clients. But at the same time, when your calendar is packed, when you're DM after DM after DM, when you have all of these clients and you have a busy business, how do you prioritize yourself? How do you keep yourself grounded?
That's a great question,
and
man.
make sure that you're on point? Because you can very easily, and even trick yourself into thinking that you're doing the correct thing by putting everybody else first and putting yourself last. How do you contextualize that?
Well, time management is super important. I live off my calendar. And when I came here and spoke like a month ago, I have blocks off in my schedule for me time and we control our own schedule. So, and I've been victim of this where I have 17 people straight back to back nonstop, and I can't do that anymore. And so every 2 or 3 hours, I have just 15 minutes of me time, right? Or even reading a book in my office. Sometimes, I'll try to read and just focus, or, I'll go home for 2 hours and see my kids, so it's all about time management. If you don't have time management, you're just going to be lost. And so you have to kind of live and die, at least I do, by my calendar. And so if you can map those times out and literally schedule those out, and there's no exceptions.
Did you ever feel guilty for doing that?
What do you mean?
For putting those time in? Like, for example, if you have 5 15-minute blocks throughout the day, that's one more person that maybe you could have seen for an hour.
Very true.
Right?
Yep.
So maybe you could say, well, I'm losing money by doing this. If I have these 15-minute blocks, that's one person less that I can see, one client less, one person less that I can help. Did that ever cross your mind?
It did the first few years, which the first few years I didn't have time management because I didn't have that many clients anyway. But as you make more money and help more people, you realize there's so much more time in the day. There really is. If you really look at it, I don't have enough time. You do. I promise you really do. If you really can map it out, right? And I only get about 6 hours sleep at night because I just, 6 hours is good for me. But if you can really map that out, there's so much time in the day. And to see one extra person a day is not worth it. It's just not, because I can put them somewhere else,
And that's the biggest thing we talked about a couple episodes ago was us three and people that are successful live in controlled chaos. We really do. And my schedule is packed. You've seen it. You've seen mine. We're the same. And I just told myself I'm not going to lose myself in work. And when we got married and we were trying to have a new life added, cast into my life, into the business, I had to make sure I had time for me and had time for her and everything we were doing, because it got to a point where I was overworking myself.
Of course.
I was.
Yeah.
And
it's easy to do.
The bank account was awesome, right? But you realize as you get older, it's not worth it. There's so much more life outside of work. So if you guys listen to this and you want to be successful, it's great. Put in the time, put in the work, but don't lose yourself in the work.
Not only that, know your value too. As you do this longer and longer, my prices have gone up and up to where now, and it's actually getting better to where I'm going to start having less clientele for the same amount of money, right? Because you're more experienced, and my target audience is maybe on a higher scale than, before it was 20-year-old kids, right? I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but it's just now you value your time more. And so here's my prices per hour or whatever it's going to be per session. And if you can't afford that, that's okay, because there's someone else wanting to do it, And so providing value to somebody, saying this is what I'm worth. If you see the value, here's my price. And so you start kind of almost cutting your schedule almost in half, because now your time's more valuable. So I can still make the same amount of money.
It's the same concept as
that also
quality.
takes time to build, though.
Quality
100%.
over quantity.
It takes time to build.
100%.
If you want to be, I don't know, whatever it is, $1,000 a month often these kids want to do that on day one.
Yep, of course.
And then
you got to pay your dues.
They don't have it, and they don't get the clients, and they're getting the no's, and they're getting the objections, and now all of a sudden, and then frustration.
And that's
seeps
why
in.
the turnover is so high in our line of work, and probably real estate too, because people, I want to be an agent, I want to start selling, $2 million homes and make 60 grand, right? It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I don't think this generation realizes that, which sucks because we come from a different generation, right? Now it's like I want everything fast. I want it right now, and we've been putting in the work 5, 6, 7 years later, and it takes years to
12 years.
12 years.
2011, dude.
That's true.
And so wrapping up, Mike, what's going on with Mike today? What are you excited about?
Yeah.
What does the future look like? What's Mike up to today?
So Mike is up to today, he's being a dad, which is pretty cool. I have a 5-month-old, and I have a 4-year-old. And so you think you're busy now. My guy, just wait.
Bro. I've been telling
you have kids?
I have a 6-year-old.
You get
bro,
it.
you got no
you
idea
get
what's coming.
You get it.
You don't know what's coming, man.
And so, yeah, that's been keeping me really busy. And again, that's my motivation also to start having less clients but more money or similar money. But yeah, I'm working on an app right now, the Evolve Culture app. And so that should be launched in the next 30 days. I had Ethan help me out with some videos and stuff. And so we'll be launching that, which will be exciting. And I'm gearing towards more of the online world now because, again, and if you're a coach listening to this, you can only see so many people per day. Right? It's very hard. I mean, you can increase your prices, and I've done that, but you can't be charging 10 grand a day. I mean, there's going to be a level where you can't charge.
Sure,
Yeah, there's levels to this shit, man.
Of course. And so the online world, I'm kind of tapping into that. That's where the app comes in. But yeah, I'm just living life. I'm turning 40 this year, dude. I'm turning 40 in August. It's pretty crazy.
Wild, huh?
Well, we won't be in town.
Yeah.
Where you planned it.
I'll be gone. And so, yeah, the app is really amazing. And I'm just blessed to be where I'm at. I really am. A lot of people start this business and they're not here 12 years later. They're just not.
Yeah.
And
You're
so
right. The turnover is so short, and we've mentored probably over 20 people that did it for 5 months to a year, and they're gone.
They're gone.
They can't keep clients. They don't know their worth. They don't know their value,
or they're scared because a lot of people that have hired me, they hired someone and they didn't get the results they wanted. Well, it's because you hired a part-time coach. You hired a guy that has a real job, and he's trying to do it on his own. That was me, but he's going to give you part-time results because he has a real job, and so he's not going to really check in with you as much as you probably should. And so that's the transition where they're trying to have a job and do coaching, and they just can't make it work, and they end up saying, screw this coaching, I'm just going to go back to what I know, this W-2 job, because it's guaranteed money.
And I think it's also being resilient and understanding where you're at and learning. It takes time to do what we do, and remember, we're holding people's health in our freaking hands. All of it.
The trust is
mental,
so amazing.
Mental, physical, emotional, all those aspects, and people forget how to do that. And I also think you have to be a very confident person, and for us, a very confident man, to be able to hold women and men and kids. And I see 8 different type of people per day, and it just shows how much you have to know about yourself and hold yourself accountable. And that value that I have for myself, and Mike does too, is I'm the best.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give you
You have
that.
to be that way. And you have to be mentally strong. I mean, that comes down to the male mind, right?
Yeah.
You definitely have to be strong to deal with so many types of people in a daily, in a daily grind. But it's just, dude, making that transition and just really just taking that jump, and you got to be scared. You should be scared all the time.
Yeah.
And
that's what I wanted
change.
to close on. Yes, because your story is a story of fear with growth.
Yeah.
Fear with growth.
Yep.
So the last question I'll ask you, Mike, is what are you afraid of today?
I'm afraid of not growing and not evolving. I'm afraid of being stuck where I'm at and just being content. And we've all been there. You make a certain amount of money, you have a certain amount of life, your certain life, the way you live. And I'm scared of never going, I think I'm straight right here, dude. I think I'm good. I'm just going to post up here for the next 10 years. Yeah. I don't want to do that. Yeah. Right. So I'm really scared of not growing and evolving into a better person constantly. You should be doing that all the time. Right. You should never be content. I don't care how much money you make, how many people you help, always be evolving and just, how can I get better? How can I do this? And how can I reach that? You know what I mean? And so many people get stuck in that where they're making a good amount of money and they just post up, and they shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah,
so always evolving, dude. That's what most people should be. You should be scared of you're gonna be the same person in 5 years. Right. That should scare the shit out of you. It scares me. I better not be the same person in 5 years.
Yeah. That's so funny because this morning I posted And I'll say it again. I literally posted, what is your vision? A lot of people aren't taking walks. They're not meditating. They're not reading books. They're not hiring mentors. They're not looking at that next step of their life. They're replaying these scenarios consistently, and they have all these dreams and they have all these things that they want to do, but yet they're too scared to do it. They're too scared to jump, or
They're lazy, dude.
And they're lazy.
They're lazy. It's so funny how, and my coach, my business coach that I hired a few years ago, he said, I want you to read a book a week. It's like, a book a week?
Excuse me?
What? Is it like a coloring book, or like what's a book a week? There's no way. 300 pages in a week? Hell no, that's not gonna happen.
Doesn't take all day.
Bro, he was like, how often do you watch Netflix? And I was like, especially when you have little kids. Like, you get it. When you have little kids, you're not, you got to post up sometimes, and you're gonna be hanging. It's a lot of downtime, right?
A lot of cocoa melon.
Yeah, a lot of cocoa melon for sure. But I remember thinking, if I could put 1 hour a day, which is like 60 or 70 pages a day, you can read a book in 3-4 days.
100%.
It's ridiculous. And so I started reading a book a week pretty consistently. And I've slowed down on that, I should say. But read a book a month. 12 books in a year is so doable. And 12 books that are going to make you grow. They're not like these it's not like you're
reading the Notebook.
Yeah. These are books that whatever you want to be successful in, I mean, you can't go wrong with business in general. Read business books.
Yeah.
Right? You'll be so much smarter in a year from now. And that's really in 2019 is when I really started to grow, because I started reading and learning.
Yeah.
It was unreal, dude. And so I tell people, read 20 pages a day, which will take you 20 minutes, and you will be so much smarter in a year from now. And you'll never be that person that you're stuck and you're going to be the same person in 5 years or a year from now.
And it's also
you can pull something from every book.
100%.
Dude, you can get a degree on YouTube, right? When I'm doing cardio, I'm watching podcasts and YouTube videos, and like you can get a degree. You should not be stupid in 2023. You should not be poor in 2023.
That's a fact.
There's just no reason for it. It's unreal. There's so much free knowledge out there.
So much.
It's just like when I see someone that's struggling, I'm like, and I was there. I was struggling at 27 years old, 26.
Yeah.
But I made the change. If you're 50 years old and you're still struggling, dude, start reading, start watching YouTube videos, learn something. You can make so much money in 2023. It's ridiculous.
I love it.
It's so easy to make money now. It's crazy. Kids have it so easy.
Yeah. It's not just about money. I don't want to give it that impression. I mean, just learn how to help somebody. Just find a new skill.
Or I mean, if you're struggling in your marriage, if you're scared because your wife's pregnant. I mean, how many books on parenting have you read? How many books on marriage or relationships or communication?
You'll never be ready for childbirth.
It's
by the way,
almost zero. 100%. 100%.
Even if you're ready, you're not ready.
Yeah. Well, Mike, thank you so much for joining
Thanks,
us.
guys.
Where can people find you? Where can people plug into you if they want to learn about Evolve Culture? Where
so you can find me on Instagram, Mike Manfre _ or Evolve Culture _ or MikeManfre.com is my website. And so they can find me those 3 platforms. And just reach out. I would love to help you guys and see if it's going to be a good fit for you. And I appreciate you guys. I really do.
Of course.
I really do.
Again, you guys, the biggest thing for us is giving you guys different stories, different outlooks of life and people. And I've seen Mike's growth. He's seen my growth. I've seen Tony's growth. And let's just be real. We're older, right? We're getting older and older. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So now the biggest thing is we want to be able to give you guys what some of you guys are missing, and those are the tools to be a better man, to be a better husband, to be a better business and entrepreneur, whatever that is that you want to become. These little 45-minute episodes that you guys are listening to are key. To this day, I listen to different podcasts, right? Because it's helped me out so much. And we're just trying to make people better, honestly. That's the main goal.
Different viewpoints. I mean, you can learn from so many different people.
Yeah.
It's unreal how you can learn from someone's different viewpoint if you
100%.
don't agree with it. Yeah. So
100%. So guys, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, share it, pass it on. We will be here with another episode in a couple of weeks. Follow Mike, follow Louie. These guys are tremendous. And we'll see you guys next time.